And I've just got one more step to do.
Oh no, we haven't started. Who knows what we're gonna do?
Oh.
Should mute ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll mute everybody. And oops, sorry. Just getting used to a new set of buttons on this computer. I'm muting everybody. So welcome. So this is the first class in a new series for everybody. And to start off with, this Feldenkrais work is all about learning how to learn. Learning new ways of learning, learning new ways of experiencing ourselves. And most of us spend a lot of time vertically walking around. And so if you wouldn't mind, please come up to standing very briefly. And for this lesson, by the way, you'll need room on need room on top of your head on the floor and room to the sides, just so that you can adjust your space so that you need it. And then just begin to lean onto your left foot, and leaning on your left foot, just see if you can take your right foot forward and back. Just see if you can bring your right foot, just slide it on the floor, just tap it on the floor in front. And if it's at all a challenge, then lean on a chair, just lean on the back of a chair so that you're comfortable. But the idea really is just that the foot taps on the floor in front of you. So rather than swinging your foot up in the air, which is important, which is an important novel thing to do, but just see if you can tap the floor in front of you. And then see how you tap the floor behind you. Same foot, the right foot, just tap it behind you. Change. Now do the same thing with the other side. That is, lean on your right foot. And if you need to use a chair or support yourself with the wall, it's okay. And just tap with your left foot. Just bring it a little bit forward and return. Just tap it forward and return it to where it started. Just tap forward and back to where it started. That's it. And then you can take it out to the side and return it to the center. Out to the side and return it to the center. Very simple. We're just looking at all these kind of directions, really. What's easier? And then backward, from the center backward and return to the center. What's of those forward to the side and back? Which one of those is the easier for you right now? And then finally, maybe over to the right. See what that's like, going to the right and back, to the right and back. See the different ways, what's possible. If you feel a little bit tippy, you know that you've gone a little bit too far. And then just go for a little walk, feel what might be interesting in walking. Is there something that might have changed for you just having tapped your foot in those unusual ways? And then come on back to your mat. Lie down on your back. And just as you're preparing yourself to lie down, make sure there's lots of room above your head so you could have your arms out long above your head partway through the lesson. Some people don't like to have the arms above their head, so on the floor. So you may also want to make sure you've got a pillow to rest your arms on for when you put your arms above your head, or one arm. And some people also like to have a little pillow that they can put behind their knees or behind their neck, roll up a little towel. Finding ways so you can be comfortable lying on the floor. Good. And now please start to roll your have your legs long and roll your left foot to the outside. Roll the left foot to the outside and see the work that it takes to roll the leg so the baby toe comes towards the floor. It may be easy, it may be difficult. It's just rolling the leg. It's not tipping the leg to the outside. It's just rolling the leg so that baby toe comes towards the floor and then returns. So if you're sliding your leg, then you're doing too much. Just turning the leg. That's it. See what that's like? And then do the same thing with the other leg, with the right leg. Just with the right leg and the right baby toe. See, and then compare. Which leg, rolling the leg, turning the leg, is easier? Is it the left leg that's easier to take the baby toe towards the floor? Or is it the right leg that's easier? And then choose the easy leg. Choose the easy leg and bend the knee of the other leg. So bend the other leg and have the other leg standing. That's it. And now continue to roll that easy leg, that baby toe, to the outside. Just take it to the outside and return. Just in a lazy kind of way. That's it. And just check in with yourself. Are you working hard doing this? Or are you finding an easy way, a lazy way to do it? That's it. I've chosen this activity just so that we can begin with doing easy things. And now, when we're rolling the leg, you can do 3 things with the foot. Probably your ankle is just very relaxed and you're just letting it drop over to the outside, the easy leg. But now, point your toes away from your head. So that would mean extend the foot, point the toes away from the head, and roll the foot. And see if there's some kind of difference in the ease with which the toes go to the side. Point the toes long as you do this. Point them. How far long do the toes point comfortably? Good. And pause. And just maybe as you're pausing, just find a way to breathe easily. Just breathe in and breathe out. Just ask yourself if you can breathe easily. Do you breathe in your tummy as you breathe in? Does your tummy move, or does your chest move when you breathe in? And then begin again rolling that leg, that easy leg, to the outside. And now this time flex the foot, but this time flex the ankle so that the toes come towards the head. So pull the toes towards the head and then roll the whole leg inside and out, inside and out. Very simple. How do you breathe as you do this? That's it. Good. And now, having done that, stretch out, lengthen both legs. Have both legs long. And bring the heels together. Bring the heels together and check to see if one leg is a little bit longer than the other. Is it the leg that you were just moving? Then bring your legs apart a little bit, just a little bit apart. And then continue to roll that easy leg, the toe, closer to the floor. See if it's going closer. That's it. Good. Pause a moment. Now please bring your arms on the floor above your head. So bring the arms above the head, resting on the floor. And if that's uncomfortable, position them in a way that is comfortable. Have a pillow under the elbows. It's important that you're not doing the limited strain. Have no strain in the arms as they're hanging in the air. And again, just roll that easy leg to the outside. Roll that easy leg to the outside with both legs long now. Both legs long, the easy leg to the outside, but keep that foot flexed. Keep that foot flexed. Flexing that foot so the toes come towards the knee. And what if you follow up that leg up from the knee as your leg is slowly rolling towards your hip, from your hip to your low back? You notice some parts of your low back maybe rounding and sinking into the floor at some time when you roll the leg to the outside. You feel your chest maybe sinking into the floor a little bit, the upper part of your chest, or maybe the arm above the leg. And then pause. And that arm above the leg that you're moving, try and lengthen it now. Just lengthen it. Let the knuckle slide longer on the floor. And then release. If your both arms can't rest on the floor, just have the one arm on the floor, please. Just the one above your easy leg. And just see if you can feel what it's like to lengthen that arm in an easy way. And then start to roll the leg to the outside and see if you can lengthen that arm as you roll the leg. See if you can lengthen that arm as you roll the leg. That's it. Does your head want to move in any kind of way? You feel a tendency for the head to somehow move. It may or may not. Wonderful. And then let it go. Very gently bring your arms down to the side. Relax your legs. For some people, when they have the arms above the head on the floor, if the arms are uncomfortable, it's sometimes most comfortable to bring the palm close to the body, close to the face, and slide down the center of the body. Then at the waist, the hands can slide out to the side. Why don't you try that now? Take one hand or both hands, it doesn't matter, but just take your hand up the center of your body and up to some place above the head. And then as you bring one hand or both hands up, actually come and touch your face with your hands and slide your hands down the center of your body till you get approximately to your waist, and then your elbows will drag your hands back down to the floor. And notice how much easier that is when you follow this simple path. That's it. Just pause a moment. And now please, with that easy leg, start to roll that foot to the inside. So turning the easy foot, the toes to the inside and back. Make sure you don't switch your legs in this. Just use the same leg all the time. And roll those toes towards the inside. Notice what that's like. Is that you may feel you're straining, you feel some movement in your knee. You might feel the pulling, a little pulling on your pelvis, as if the pelvis somehow lifted, it would make it easier for that foot to turn to the inside. But we won't go there quite yet. So just feeling that possibility of the toe rolling to the inside. And then like we did earlier, maybe lengthen the toe, extend the ankle, toes long, and also turn the toes to the inside. And just feel what that's like. Keeping the toes, the ankle extended long, and turning the leg, the toes to the inside. Does that maybe make it easier or more difficult? For some, it'll make it easier. For some, it'll make it more difficult. And then change it so that you flex the toes so they come up towards the shin or towards your nose. And again, roll the leg to the inside. You may find that when your foot is flexed like this, you feel much more movement in your hip joint as the foot rolls to the inside. That's very nice. Good. Pause, just relax the leg a little bit. Notice we're doing just very simple movements, taking it very simple, slowly and easily. For some of us, we have a tendency to a strategy of moving quickly. And in these kind of lessons, these Feldenkrais lessons, we look at how can we move slowly and learn through the slower movements so that we become a little bit more precise, a little bit more fluid. Finally, perhaps not, the next thing to do is just to lift the foot and put it down. That easy foot, let it come towards the ceiling and let it sink down. It doesn't have to lift very much, but let it come all the way down. What you may notice is that as you start to lift the foot, or is that your toes point more towards the ceiling as you start to lift the foot. And then when you put it down and let it go, the foot tips over to the outside again. Why don't you really pay attention to that sequence of starting, the toe spontaneously comes more towards the ceiling, then as it lifts up, stays pointing towards the ceiling. Once the heel is resting on the floor, the weight of the leg is, you let go of the weight of the leg, then the toes roll to the outside. Does it matter how high you raise your foot? It really doesn't, because really what we're looking at is this sequence of just the start, how just the engaging, the start of the movement changes the orientation of the leg to be straight forward. And it stays that until you finish the movement, and then the leg goes back to its place of being relaxed to the outside. That's. So that says that to initiate some movements, to get started in movement, sometimes we have to do something internally before we can actually do the movement. And actually, to lift the foot, to raise the foot, you have to somehow tighten muscles somewhere. So why don't you just raise your foot a few times and listen to the different places in your body where you tighten muscles. Maybe in your thigh, your groin, or maybe your abdomen gets tighter. Maybe your low back, something happens in the low back. And in order to hold the leg in the air, you may detect that you feel that tightness in the low back in order to hold the leg in the air. Dropping the foot on the floor, you might feel the muscles in the low back relaxing, and especially relaxing as the leg rolls to the outside. Great. And now, please take the hand above that foot and bring the elbow in front of the chest so that the palm of the hand is kind of hovering over top of the opposite shoulder. Yeah, got that idea? And now just start to ask how far over to that side, past that shoulder, could that hand go? How far can you take that hand? Notice how far it will go comfortably without, and you'll start to feel the pull on your chest and maybe in your hips, but without moving any other part or intentionally pulling on any other part. You can see, you can get a sense of how far your hand can go. Now bring the elbow back in front of you and the palm maybe kind of in front of the opposite shoulder. And now do something very unusual. Start to turn your wrist, turn your hand so that the baby finger, so the hand's in front of your chest, resting in front of the chest, and start to turn the index finger towards the ceiling. So start to turn the thumb and the index finger towards the ceiling and then back. So the hand opens up towards your face and then returns. So just lead with your thumb going towards the ceiling and then back. Do that 3 or 4 times. That's it. And then change it so that your index finger is leading the movement. Of course, the thumb will follow. But it's the index finger that turns towards the ceiling, turns the palm towards your face. That's it. And that may not be quite as easy as when you did it with the thumb. And then try it with your middle finger. Try to turn your hand that way towards your face. The finger is going towards the ceiling, but using your middle finger as being rotating around it. Feel what that's like. That's it. Do that a couple of times. That's it. And then, of course, following the pattern that you now detect is the ring finger, the 4th finger. Turn the hand, but using the ring finger as if you're turning with the ring finger. That certainly is not as easy as the index finger. And then finally, the baby finger, turning the fan, using the baby finger. That's it. Do that 2 or 3 times. That's it. Good. That's it. And now, keeping your hand kind of twisted like this, take your hand over as far to the opposite side as it'll go. See, remember how you did that a minute ago? You slid it over to, notice how much, notice how much further it goes. Bring it back. And as you go, turn the arm so that the palm will face your face, will turn towards your face, just like we were doing. You can allow your head to turn if you like. Just, again, rotate that arm as you take that hand across. Notice if the way that somehow helps your hand go even further than what we had done a minute ago. That's it. Very nice. Good. And then let that go and rest a moment. Somehow we're learning new things. You've learned something's changed in your shoulders and in your neck and your chest, allowing the hand to go further. Now let's go back to that leg. Again, bring that leg, let it come forward and sink down. And let's see if there's some kind of change in what you feel in your back and in your hip. So bring the leg forward, just that easy leg. Just raise it towards the ceiling and let it sink down. Just raise it towards the ceiling and let it sink down. A silly kind of way. That's it. And now, as you lift it and draw and take your foot to the outside, like you're making a little curve in the air, a little arc in the air. So the foot lifts up, goes to the outside a bit, and then lift it and bring it back down in the middle. So you're just lifting the foot up, taking it to the outside, dropping it on the ground, and then lifting it back up and returning to where it was. Just a simple little lifting it up and putting it down, lifting it up and putting it down. And listen now to, where does your baby toe, can your leg turn so the baby toe touches the ground when you take it to the outside? Lift it up, let it sink down. That's it. Feel what that's like, sense what that's like. That's it. How far can you take the foot to the outside comfortably? That's good. Now try and do this with your toes pointed long, extend it. Extend your foot, your ankle, so the toes point long, and just do the very same thing. Just raise the foot and it's like you're hopping. Just it hops over to the side and then hops back. Just a little bounce and back. Always making sure the foot lands into each time. That's it. Easy, easy kind of way. That's it. Very nice. And then change it so that you flex the foot. That means you bring the toes towards the shin and the nose. And again, just hop it over to the side and back. Maybe it's not so easy for the baby toe to touch the floor now and the foot's flexed, or maybe it's easier. Find out for yourself. That's it. Very nice. Good. And how fast could you do this? Could you do this quickly? How quickly can you do this? Yeah. Yeah. But always the heel lifts up. And always the heel is lifting up and down. It's not just turning, but lifting up and down. That's it. Always landing too, making sure the heel lands. That's very nice. Pause a moment. Bring the two legs close together and measure them. Is there a distance? Is one heel, are the two legs now the same length? Or is one heel a little further than the other, a little longer than the other? You don't have to look at them. You just feel if one heel slides a little bit longer than the other heel. And then keeping both legs kind of close together with your easy leg, begin to see if it can go over to the other side. If you can just lift up that easy leg and see if the heel can go to the other side, over top of that leg and back. You've done this a million times. It's just crossing your legs. But I'm just describing it that the heel touches the floor. Your head rests on the floor. That's it. Foot goes over. That's it. Just like we're just going to the opposite side than we did before. Now let's make it a little bit more challenging, more interesting. See if you can take the foot over, but land and touch with the big toe. Take the foot over. How do you organize yourself so you touch with the big toe? Feel what that's like. Good. And then go back to touching with just the heel. Now, I'm going to make it really difficult, so you have to listen very carefully. When you take your foot over, first touch with your heel, and then touch with your toe, and then come back. So go over, touch with the heel, touch with the toe, and come back. Heel, toe, and come back. Heel, toe, and come back. Okay. Pause. Then we'll change the order. Swing the leg over, but touch with the toe and then the heel. And then come back. Toe, heel, and then come back. Lift, toe, heel, and then come back. That's it. It's a little dance, isn't it? Good. Having done all of that, take your easy foot over to the side and see if the whole flat of the foot can rest on the floor. And if the flat of the foot can rest on the floor, leave it there and just slide it in a circle on the floor somehow. What size of circle can you make? That's it on the floor. Oh, that's very nice. Good. Very beautiful. Good. Then relax the leg, bring it back. And now with the arm above that leg, remember how you had the elbow in the air and you took that hand across to the other side? See how far it goes over now. Just take it over to the opposite side if you wish to turn your wrist. Oh, notice how much even further it goes over now. Beautiful. Yes. Good. Let that go. Pause, rest on your back. Sense the quality of your breathing. Just pause for a moment. And the next step, the next idea is for you to just come up to standing. But as you're starting to do that, is there anything that you have used? Is there anything you've done in the class already tonight that maybe would help you rolling to your side and coming up to standing? I don't know. Maybe one side is easier. And the purpose in coming up to standing is just so that you can compare the two sides in standing, compare it to how you felt at the beginning of the lesson. And so once you're standing on your 2 feet, take the foot that was the easy foot, and as we did at the beginning, just tap it forward and back. Just slide it forward and back and return. Not behind you yet, just forward and back. Just notice what that's like. Or take it to the side, to the outside, the easy leg to the outside. Notice what that's like. Or you can take it backward. Feel what that. Oh, sense what that's like. Yeah. And then do the same with the other leg. Take the other leg, the one we hadn't been using, feel the sense of balance or change in balance. Or take it out to the side. And then take it backward. Good. Or you can compare one leg and the other, the one that you were doing a lot of the movement with. Feel the change. Yeah. And then the fourth movement is the more difficult one. So take your easy foot and bring it over top of your difficult foot and tap the floor, just like you were doing, and back. Just like the last thing you did. Notice what it's like now to do that. That's it. Then try it with the other foot. Yeah. Feel the difference. Notice the difference. Good. And then bring your feet back together again and bring your arms in kind of a hoop in front of you. And just turn yourself around, turn your elbows and your arms over to one side and to the other. Notice which side you prefer to go to, which side is the easy side. That's very nice. And how does the weight change on your feet? And if you were to swing your arms to the left, could you also take your right foot and let your right foot follow your hands all the way over to the left? So crossing over top of yourself with that foot. That's how fast. Try that a few times. And then try it with the other foot. When you swing to the other side, take the other foot around over top of you. How far around yourself can you swing with your legs and arms? That's it. This is kind of like a beginning square dance lesson, isn't it? Okay, good enough. Now lie back down and rest a moment. Resting on your back. Make sure you have enough room above your head and to your sides. That's it. And now with the leg that you haven't been using, it was begin to roll it to the outside a few times, the baby toe to the outside. That's it. Feel what that's like. Good. And has it learned something? Is it easier than it was earlier, maybe? And then maybe extend the toes long and do the same thing. Roll that leg with the toes pushed long. That's it. Or flex the foot and roll the foot when the foot's flexed. That's it. Roll the toes to the outside. That's it. Very nice. And let's just pause a moment. And bring the arms above the head, or at least the arm of that leg you're working with above the head, and just see if you can lengthen that arm. Just push it a little bit longer, just very gently. If the knuckles can slide on the floor a little bit. The arms don't have to be, hands don't have to be right above the head. They could be to the side, just someplace that's comfortable so that you're not too restricted. And then again, just begin to roll that foot that's below that arm to the outside and back and have the foot flexed, and just roll it to the outside. You may discover that your head wants to roll a little bit in the same way. Or you may feel your ribs on that side rolling into the floor a little bit more as the foot rolls to the outside. That's it. Wonderful. And as the foot rolls, is it possible to lengthen that arm? Is it possible to invite that arm to just lengthen a little bit away from your middle of your body, away from your shoulder, away from your head? Doesn't mean you need to go straight above. It could go up to that angle that's comfortable for you. That's it. Just feeling what might be possible. And then very gently bring the arms towards the face and down the center of your body. And at your waist, let your hands come to the sides and rest a moment. Maybe you can sense something in your shoulder blade, that shoulder blade that you were just moving. And now with that foot that you were just moving, maybe start to invite it to slide, to come towards the ceiling and then sink back down. Just letting it rise towards the ceiling and sink back down. Letting that foot rise and sink down. And notice with this foot, in order to initiate the rising, you'll find that maybe you notice your foot straightens, the toes point towards the ceiling. And then when your heel really rests on the floor, then the foot rolls back to the outside. So that's one whole movement, whole cycle of movement of somehow spontaneously the foot straightens towards the ceiling, lifts up, then sinks down and rolls to the outside. It's like that very first part is kind of like a preparation somehow. Somehow we do something with that to allow the weight of the leg to shift to another part of our body. We allow other parts of the body to sink into the floor. Next time you do this, why don't you flex your ankle? It exaggerates the sensation a little bit. Flex the ankle, go slowly. And as you start to lift the foot, notice the parts where you might sink into the floor or push into the floor a little bit. Parts of you might be pushed into the floor, either in your pelvis, your low back, or maybe even partway up your chest and against the floor. That's where the body is looking for support. It's finding support through other places in yourself. You may even find yourself pushing in with the opposite foot. And then maybe pause. Now, that arm above this leg, stretch it out above yourself. If you can do two hands, that's great, but just that one hand is sufficient. And then begin to raise that hand a little bit towards the ceiling and sink down. Raise that hand towards the ceiling and let it sink down. And once it's resting on the floor, really, how could you help it really rest? So you're not holding it at all. How could it really rest and be really at ease somehow? Is there something you need to put under the elbow or something, or under the hand? And then just try that a few more times. Once it's rested, let it rise up. And then let it sink down and let it rest. It doesn't matter how high it lifts up. Leaving next time the hand is resting, just leave it resting. And now lift the leg that was underneath it. Lift the leg and let it sink down. Then you feel the setup, that setup stage, that start stage, and then the lift stage. And is there something, is it possible that that arm could spontaneously lengthen slightly in this process as the leg lifts, or as the leg sinks down, maybe it shortens, maybe when the foot relaxes, it shortens. Pause. Now, if you can keep the arm above the head just for a minute longer, well, no, bring it down. I know some of you are tired, so bring the arm down and relax. Raise and lower that leg a couple of times, keeping the foot flexed. Feel what might be different in your hip, or your groin, or your low back, or your chest. That's always finishing that whole movement, the start of the starts turning the foot, then raising and then dropping, and then leaving on the floor so the foot can rest and turn to the side. Allow yourself to rest. There's lots of time to rest. Now that arm, please bring it up on the floor again, slide it up on the floor, and maybe notice if there's something different about how it rests on the floor now. And start to very slowly to lift that leg, and as it starts to come down, lift the arm. So you're going to be going in opposite ways, like a teeter-totter almost. At what point do you get to rest the leg? At what point do you get to rest the arm? Find those places where you're making sure that there's a time for each of them to rest. You're not holding them in the air. It's such a habit of holding, maintaining the muscular tightness. We call it tonus. Where can you let that go? At what time in this sequence? And now lift them both up at the same time. Exactly at the same time. Have both of them start on the floor and then exactly lift them both up. And then have them both land at exactly the same time. Very difficult to do it simultaneously. Maybe to get the sequence of simultaneity, maybe start with, ever so slightly, start the arm a little sooner than the leg. That's it. See what that's like. Good, and then relax. Bring the arm down through the center and take it easy. Wonderful. Well, now, as we did on the other side with the arm, bring that arm in front of your chest. In front of the chest, and so the hand is just kind of the hand is somehow in front of the chest, and turn and just stretch your arm, stretch your hand over to that opposite side. See how far it goes comfortably. You can turn your head if you like, but just notice how far it goes comfortably. Do that 1 or 2 times just to confirm that that's clearly the limit without straining. And then let's go to that idea, the hand in front, and turning the hand towards the face, starting with the thumb towards the ceiling, just keeping the palm there without turning the rest of the body, just turning the thumb and maybe the first finger towards the face, and then down, just repeating that twisting of the whole seemingly wrist and forearm. Feel what that's like. And then maybe have the second finger, the index finger really is turning you towards the ceiling. And then the third finger. Use the third finger to somehow organize this. Feel what that's. You may feel something different in your shoulder blade, or your collarbone. And then the fourth finger, the ring finger, allowing the ring finger to turn. That's it, to turn your hand. Your hand may feel different when you're using the ring finger. And then finally, the baby finger, using the baby finger to turn the wrist. Just turn the wrist, turning the hand. That's it. And then holding the arm in the air, just like you had a minute ago, then just take that hand over to the opposite side. Notice how far it goes now. Aha. That's it. Notice how much further. And repeat that, but allow your hand to turn. You allow the hand and the wrist and the forearm to turn as if you're turning a doorknob or some other activity as the arm is turning. That's great. Good. Pause. Rest the arm. And now that leg, raise and lower the leg a couple of times. Is there something different? Oh, it's lighter. That's. And take that foot and go over top of the opposite foot. And just tap with the heel and come back. Do that a few times like we did with the other leg. Feel what that's like. That's. Tap with the heel. And then next time, tap with the big toe. Can the big toe find the floor? Doesn't matter where it goes right now. It's just finding that trajectory of the leg. Now I'm going to make it more complex. Take the foot over and tap with the heel and then the big toe. And then come back. Heel, toe, and then come back. Heel, toe, and then come back. And then change it so you land with the toe and then the heel, and then come back. Toe, heel, and then come back. Toe, heel, and then come back. Nice. How fast can you do this? That's wonderful. Then slow it down, and this time land with the sole of the foot, the whole flat of the foot. Land with the whole flat of the foot. Where can that flat foot land? The flat of the foot, the whole sole of the foot. And do that a couple of times. Find a different place each time. The flat of the foot. That's it. And then finally, wherever you land the foot, make a circle on the floor with the whole of the foot. So you feel every part of the foot being dragged on the floor. Make a circle. And then change the direction. Change that direction. Feel that direction. That's it. Beautiful. Good. Then bring the foot back and relax. Pause. Please go back to taking that arm over to the side. See if there's something different now about taking that arm over to the side, turning it as you like. Oh, that's it. And next time you're thinking of taking, just leave the arm in front of your chest and then take the foot over to the opposite side. Take the foot all the way across yourself and notice how much you turn. You're almost rolled onto your side suddenly. And then come back. Each time, roll a little bit more so that you come more and more onto your side. That's. How far away from yourself can you take your foot now? How far in front of yourself over to that far side can that foot go? Yes. How far does your hand now? Start to think of your hand stretching out, right? Seeing how far the hand can go. How far can that hand go on the floor in front of you? That's very nice. Good. Next time you're back in the center, just pause. And then try the other leg. Just swing the other leg across yourself and back. Find where the sole of the foot can land. And wherever it lands, make a circle with the foot. The hands are down beside you initially. As your foot's gone over to the side. That's it. Change the direction of that foot. That's it. And now, with the leg long, just for a moment, bring the arm in front of your chest. That's it. And now swing that leg over to the side. Swing the leg over to the side. Somehow having the arm in front of the chest makes it easier for you to roll onto your side, doesn't it? With the arms in front of the chest. And so you can begin to explore, play with how far in front of you the arm can slide on the floor, or how far in front of you the leg can go. Some people may start to think that they could roll onto their tummy somehow. Where would you want to put that free arm? Maybe not by your side, maybe out to the side instead, the other arm. So you can roll completely onto your tummy and then back, and then go onto the other side. That's why you need so much space on the floor around you for this lesson. Rolling from side to side, swinging your legs in the air, swinging your arms in the air, feeling the freedom all the way from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, through your neck. When you roll onto your side and onto your tummy, you may feel that you can even lift up your head and look at the far wall above your head. Wonderful. Wow, let it go, take it easy. Rest on your back. Rest on your new back, your new low back, your new shoulders. Your hips are somehow different, your legs, your neck, your jaw. Maybe something's easier in your chest, your abdomen. Maybe something's easier in your breathing. Now in a minute, in just a few seconds, you're going to come to standing. And you can use this, you can start to wonder how you could use some of this rolling somehow as being part of the activity of coming up to standing. So take a moment and play around with some of these ideas and see how some parts of this can. Yeah. Maybe take yourself, once you're standing, you can take yourself for a little walk. As you're walking, you could ask yourself, what might be different? Would you feel taller or lighter? Taller or shorter? Lighter or heavier? Or wider? Or not so wide? Or deeper somehow? Or maybe the pelvis moves in a new way, or maybe your sense of balance on your feet somehow feels different. And then at the beginning of the lesson, you were standing and you just stood there and you took one foot forward and returned. You could see what that's like now. Forward and return. See what that's like. Oh yeah. Or you could take it to the side. That's see what that's like. Aha. I see big differences there. Or you could take it behind you and return. Aha. Yeah. Very nice. And then do the same thing with the other leg. Take the other leg to the side and back. Aha. Nice. Or forward and back. That's it. Forward and or behind you. That's it's so interesting. That's it. And now the big challenge is to take one foot over top of the other. Remember how, oh my goodness, that was such a challenge before. Feel the change now. That's it. Or switch your legs. Take the other leg over top. That's it. Yeah. So one of the dance steps is to take one foot over top of the other and then swing the other one behind it and just back, just keep going side to side. Just keep going. How far can you go? That's it. And then bring your arms in a circle in front of you. And then as you swing your leg around just to the side, let your arms follow it. And back. Just, we did that on the floor. Just let those arms there. Feel how upright and easy this is. Yes. Go from side to side. Or maybe you can even shift your weight from one foot to the other so that you end up doing a kind of a waltz around the room. That's very nice. Well, thank you so very much. This has been such a pleasure to share with you. I'll turn off the recording now, but we can also take a little time to chat and to explore and discuss some of the things you experienced and had fun with tonight. Stop recording.